What up, film fanatics? This is Apocalypse Movies, and we are here today to discuss the new Disney movie, Zootopia. This is our Zootopia review, and I'm your host, Jacob Bartley. I'm joined by Jake Berlin. We both have recently saw the film, so how are you doing today, Jake?
I'm good. I'm happy to be talking Zootopia right now.
Yeah, we were just talking about my horrible experience in the theaters, and FYI, if you're an adult who just wants to go and enjoy animated film, try not to go on a Saturday or Sunday in the middle of the day or at night, because there's going to be a lot of babies crying. There's going to be a lot of moms who don't care that their baby's crying and let their kids run around. But anyways, does not change that we got a freaking awesome movie from Disney. So this is how this review is going to work. We're going to talk about our general impressions of the film, positives, negatives. We're going to talk about one moment that I call the WTF moment, something that just really stood out to us. It could be a bad thing, a negative thing. And then we're going to go talk about who we would recommend this film to and give our scores out of 10. So without further ado, let me ask you, Jake Berlin, what is your overall general impression of Zootopia?
I enjoy the living hell out of this movie. Luckily, I went on a Monday, so there wasn't anybody there. And it was the first showing in the morning.
Nice.
And, you know, there have been a number of great animated films the last few years. Inside Out obviously was one. But I don't know if you remember the film Rise of the Guardians.
I remember it.
And I thoroughly enjoyed that movie.
Okay.
I remember walking out of the theater like buzzing about it, just like
Wow.
having a great time.
I don't really remember it that well.
And
but
I came out the same way with this movie.
Nice.
I had such a fun time watching it. It was so entertaining. It was just so well done, and you know the themes that they had, and the characters, and the world building, and just everything about it was so much fun. And you know we always talk about how Pixar's changing the game. Pixar's changing the game. Disney, who owns Pixar, is right on their heels. Like their own animation studio, they're right there.
Yeah, it's just funny because Pixar is owned by Disney, and the head of Pixar is the head of Disney Animation.
Yeah.
So
it's
what's
funny.
the difference?
Yeah, but Disney Animation, they're changing the game. They changed the game with this film. This film will win the Oscar Best Animated Film. Wow. I'll say it right now.
We don't know what else is coming out.
I'll say it right now.
I think Sausage Party might challenge it.
So
but you never know. I absolutely adored this movie, man. I was hearing great reviews. I was trying not to get my expectations that high, so I was like, just temper your expectations. You know, it's going to be fine. And I really enjoyed it, despite my horrible experience in the theater. You know, it felt like a Pixar movie, just the magic of a Pixar film. So I really liked Zootopia a lot, but I loved Inside Out last year. I don't think it's better than Inside Out. It's as far as my personal opinion, but I think it's right damn near up there because the way the animation was done, I think, is what I really loved about it.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Is great.
Yes.
Some of the best animation I've ever seen,
I
honestly.
agree. Completely agree.
The colors and the way the Zootopia looked, and just the way they made these animals have human characteristics, and how they kind of mirrored our society in this movie, which visually and thematically. So overall, this is a brilliant film. I'm so surprised. I remember when the first couple trailers came out, I was like, obviously we try to see most movies that come out, so we're going to watch it, but I wasn't dying to see it until that sloth in the DMV little trailer came out, and that hooked everyone.
That on a side note, that trailer, I've never seen a crowd, audience members react to that kind of trailer. I remember sitting in Star Wars. I was with Gio at the time.
Yeah.
We were sitting there watching it. That trailer destroyed audiences.
Everyone laughed, and that's why they got
Yes.
everyone in the theater.
Exactly.
That trailer was the hook, and then they delivered on this movie. So overall, it's freaking very enjoyable film. So let's talk about exactly what we enjoyed about it, Jake. What stood out to you? You know, top 2 or 3 things about Zootopia.
First off, I think I guess you can go 2-part, but it's Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde. The two characters, they are so well done. Judy Hopps, first of all, she's a very strong character.
Oh, yeah.
And it's weird to say that for an animated character, but they crafted her so well, and her arc through the entire film, and you know, from the very beginning, the opening scene, by the way, is just amazing. The talent show or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, that was
so
pretty cool.
Good.
Blood.
Yes, it's just so good. But yeah, the two characters, the two leads, you're attracted to them the entire time they're on screen. You never take your eye off
Well,
them.
it's because it's the predator and the prey.
Yeah.
Foxes hunt bunnies down, so
Yeah.
it's cool how they're working together.
And I think kind of going off that, the voice casting in this movie is phenomenal.
Amazing.
It is so good. Jason Bateman is Nick Wilde. You couldn't have gone any better.
Perfect
Like honestly, you
voice
could not have
casting.
gone any better. And Jennifer Goodwin, a lot of people don't know who she is, but her voice in this film was great.
Perfect.
It was
Yeah.
such a great fit. Obviously, you have the Idris Elba as Was it Bobo?
Yeah.
I think it's the chief police.
And then J.K. Simmons as
J.K.
the
Simmons,
lion,
the lion.
the mayor.
Yeah,
Mayor
I mean,
Lionheart.
There's all kinds of great just voices all over this. And then I think another thing that you can't go without mentioning is the world building.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And, I was expecting to go in this movie going straight into Zootopia, but they built everything around it. Like they started off in, I forget what the bunny's home is called.
Yeah, but it's like the country.
Yeah, and they start off with that,
Just
and
moving to the big city.
yeah, and then
you
they
know?
have Zootopia, and then they have 3 different climates around Zootopia where animals live.
Oh yeah,
and it's just
it makes sense because animals.
Yeah,
all live in
and I
different
got so
climates,
much more than what I was expecting.
Yeah.
I was expecting to go straight into Zootopia, and so I was very surprised and happy with that. You can also go off of the themes that are in this film. Never give up on your dreams. How society can live on one, predator and prey, like all that kind of stuff. There's so many things to take from this film. It's overall, it's enjoyable. It's very well done. There's so many things to pick, but those are definitely the main ones for me.
Yeah, I totally agree with most of what you said. I got to start with the voice cast. So animation used to be where you didn't have these big names doing the voices, where it used to be, just voice actors. And nowadays, like movies like Inside Out and, a lot of the animated films these days, they want the big name because they want to attract the adults, like, who know the actors doing the voices. But it's not just about the name. Jennifer Goodwin fit that character so well with her voice. And Jason Bateman fit Nick Wilde so damn well. He's the Sly Fox. His voice
Dude,
sounds like Sly
yeah,
Fox.
it's so good.
And just the way that whole thing is set up, and you said it right, they could have jumped right into Zootopia in this movie, but instead the setup was brilliant. They, again, going back to the themes, they started off, back in history, we used to be the predator and the prey, and then she's just doing a play, and how she wants to be a cop, and she never gives up on her dreams, and all of that. And the themes are the hugest thing. The way it reflects society is probably the most brilliant part of this movie. How we can see in a news story how one person from one group does something wrong, and then the society and the media judges that group because that one person comes from that group, and they jump to conclusions and judge people by judge a book by its cover, pretty much. And this movie's basically saying to not do that, and it's not cheesy or batting you over the head with it.
Not
it's
at
done
all.
so
Yes,
well,
totally
so
agree.
subtly.
Totally agree.
And yeah, that was my biggest takeaway from it. Just the humor is great. The way I love how, so the giraffes, they're really tall, so they have to pick up their coffee from high up, and then how the rodents live in a very small village, and how like when she's chasing, I forget what kind of animal she's chasing.
I think it's like a musk.
Like
something.
So and they go into the rodent village, and they're like jumping on top of the buildings, and just attention to detail. There's so much detail in this movie as far as how the animals would live in a human-like world. So it's all done great. So let's just talk about a few things that maybe could have been done better. I mean, no movie's perfect, but this movie does not have a lot wrong with it. I'll go and say that from the bat. Maybe my one takeaway is it was a couple of the things were a little bit predictable for me.
I would have to agree, yeah.
I don't want to get into too much spoilers because just for listeners, and Gio hasn't seen the film and he's sitting here right next to us, but out of respect, I'm not going to spoil it. But there's a couple reveals that I was like, so the whole time I'm sitting back, all right, who's behind this whole thing? It's one of these 2 or 3 people, and it ended up being one of those 2 or 3 people. So, but then the first person you think is really behind it is really not behind it, which was kind of clever. But, really, other than that, I don't have
I think
any problems
that's
with
the
this
only
film.
thing that I can think of as well. It was a bit predictable at the end. You kind of, as the movie goes on, you kind of get the picture a little bit.
Yeah.
So I would definitely have to agree with you.
But it made sense. I wasn't.
No,
mad
it worked
at
out.
Everything.
It was a total. It
Yeah.
worked out as planned.
Exactly. And if you're a kid, I don't think kids would see it coming.
Not at
So
all.
It
Not at
works
all.
very well. I really like. Again, I don't want to spoil it too much, but how they used the blueberries at the end. I didn't
Yeah.
see that coming. Did you?
I did.
You did?
I did. Yeah.
See, I love. You know what's great about this?
But I
know-
was completely fine with it. It worked
Yeah.
out. Again, it worked
So,
out
all right.
well.
I know we were supposed to be talking about negatives, but obviously we didn't have that many negatives. But this movie is so tight. Everything from the beginning to the end comes full circle.
There's so many payoffs.
And yeah, exactly. So the little pen recorder,
Oh, dude.
the blueberries,
The sloth.
the sloth. There's so many payoff jokes that they set up in the beginning of the movie, and everything comes. And the two main characters have so much great chemistry together, and I loved it. And it's like it's called a hustle. Like, you know, they say that a couple times, and it's done very well. And just it's a buddy cop movie.
It totally
also
is.
too, and
Totally is.
that gets me excited for the possibility of a sequel. Jump right into it. They're partners. They're working on a mission together, and I'm actually really surprised at how much I enjoy.
Yeah,
this
I got to talk about because talking about all these scenes. It's that one scene where Judy Hopps hustles Nick Wilde.
Yeah,
I
great.
died
Oh,
during
yeah.
that scene because as soon as she said something, his face turned, and I died. Like I could not
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
handle it anymore. It was so good.
Yeah, because first he hustles her.
I love that she just goes, "It's called a hustle, sweetheart."
Uh-huh.
I'm
And-
like,
but
"Oh my
then
god!"
You hear that again at the
It's
end of the movie.
so
which
good,
is
yes.
So yeah, I actually want to go watch this movie again, and
I am totally down
I
to
did
go
that
watch it
with
again.
Inside Out,
I'll
and
go
I
with you.
loved Inside Out was like in my top 5 movies last year. So
We gotta take him.
yeah, I'm totally down. We're gonna go watch it again. So before we close things out, just talk about, was there one moment that made you say WTF? Like, what was your WTF moment for this movie?
I think that a lot of the times it's when the police chief wouldn't believe in Judy Hopps.
Okay.
After all of the success she had during the case, like she would find things and didn't believe her. But also one of the things I didn't predict is when they're inside the building on the cliff, and who walks in,
Yeah.
and they think that
Yeah.
that's who it is
Yeah.
who's behind it all. That's kind of was my WTF moment because I wasn't expecting it.
Okay.
I was not expecting that.
Okay.
I was
Wow.
expecting the second turn.
Oh, yeah,
I wasn't
yeah,
expecting
yeah.
the first
first
turn.
Okay.
So that was definitely probably my WTF moment, but there weren't really a lot of like WTF moments within the film.
Yeah, I agree. I just, for me, these WTF moments can be like anything. It could be something that made me laugh. And for me, I love in these animated films when they have jokes that parents will get but kids won't get. So, and there's kind of like a 3-parter to this joke. So they say at the beginning of the movie, she's like, the mom of the bunny, of Judy Hopps, is like, say goodbye to me and your father and your 300 brothers
Oh,
and sisters.
yes.
And you know
Yes.
how rabbits and bunnies, they get it on quite often, and they
Yes.
have a lot of offspring. So they
Well, you
keep
see
going
that when
back
she
to
leaves
this
in the
joke.
train.
Exactly, that's what I'm getting to. So she says so she has like 400 brothers and sisters, which is joking about
Yes.
bunnies,
Which is actually not a joke in real life though.
having offsprings. Yeah, and then as she's leaving her town where all the bunnies live, the population thing is just constantly
Yes.
going up
Yes.
and up. And then when she's hustling Nick Wilde, she's adding, because he has like tax evasion or something. He hasn't been doing his taxes. He's been hustling people and making all this money. She's adding it up. She's like, I'm not very good at math, but us bunnies, we're great at multiplying. So it kept going back to that joke, and I was like, my jaw was dropping because I love that type of humor in kids movies, and it's funny because kids aren't going to get it.
No,
So for
not at
me,
all. Not at
just
all.
how much I enjoyed that joke and how it kept coming back, it was really like WTF,
Another thing that kids won't understand is the Godfather stuff.
Oh yeah,
The
ice
God-
him.
Yeah.
And it's like
And
literally
how
rub
he's
him in
talking,
ice.
he's like totally
Yeah.
talking in that Godfather voice, and
Yeah,
there's so
that's-
many just play on movies in this film, and
Yeah.
they played it so well, and I mean it's just so enjoyable.
I'm
man.
totally down to go watch this movie
Yes.
again. We'll take Gio to go see it. All right. Well, Jake, would you recommend Zootopia to general audiences or just a specific audience?
I would recommend it to everybody, kids and adults alike. I think that I don't see how you would not enjoy this movie. There's so many things to take away from it. It's such a good time. It's so entertaining. The pacing it's on. It just keeps going and going and going. And we talked about earlier, it's very much a buddy cop mystery film.
Yeah, exactly.
And who doesn't
And it
like
keeps
mystery movies?
It keeps you thinking. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not boring.
And
at
who
all.
doesn't really like those mystery, like trying to uncover
Exactly.
something? And
Yeah.
so yeah, I would definitely recommend it to everybody.
Yeah, me too. I would recommend this to everybody. Obviously, we're young adults in our 20s, and we loved the movie. So unless unless you have the mentality like, oh, it's a kids movie, then maybe you won't enjoy it. But other than that, I think everyone will appreciate this movie. There's something to take away from it for everybody, and it reflects society in such a great way. So I definitely think a lot of people would enjoy it. So
the best reflective society in recent memory.
yeah,
for sure.
definitely, for sure. So all right, we're gonna end it like we do every review, giving our movies a score out of 10. So Jake Berlin, what is your score for Zootopia?
I went back and forth on this, and obviously I love the movie, and I wanted to give it a 10. I do, but I'm gonna go to a 9.5.
Wow, that's crazy. I am not mad at that. It definitely deserves that. I'm trying to temper myself because I was going back and forth with myself between like an 8 or a 9, and I love this movie. It's great. But I don't, for my personal likings, I don't think it's, because I'm going to compare it to another kids movie, Inside Out, and I think I gave Inside Out a 9, and so I didn't enjoy Zootopia as much, so I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10, but that's a great score.
Yeah, definitely.
Before I saw this movie, I probably would have expected myself to give it an 8 at the highest, and the fact that I could possibly give it a 9, but I'm going to give it an 8.5. Maybe after watching it again, it goes up. But it's a freaking phenomenal film. Kids movie or not, it's a great film. And who knows, by the end of this year, we could be talking maybe a Best Picture nomination, honestly.
I'm calling it right now. Mad. It's going to win the Oscar for Best Animated
Film.
Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely going to be in the conversation. We don't know what other animated movies are coming out.
Other than Sausage Party.
Yeah. Hey, what if Sausage Party gets a nomination?
No, that's R-rated, dude.
You never know.
It
doesn't. It's not kids movie. It's animated.
Yeah, I know.
Movie, so.
Still.
All right. Well, that's gonna do it for our review of Zootopia. I want to thank Jake Berlin for joining me today. Let them know where they can find you online.
Twitter, Instagram at Qui-Gon Jake. That's with 2 N's. And apocalypsemovies.com every day. Make sure you check out all of our shows on our YouTube channel.
And you can find me, Jacob Barley, on Twitter at Jacob Bartley _ on this Apocalypse Movies YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Please hit that like button. And for Apocalypse Movies, thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.